Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Can You Not podcast.
Hello. We're so happy to be back.
hmm
Literally chuckling
Um,
over here. Go ahead, just explain our
we've had
situation.
issues. Oh my goodness. So we have like this app, I think it's an app considered probably that we do all our recordings on. And it's just been running into issues lately. And we recorded an entire hour and 20-minute episode of this episode that we're talking about right now. And it didn't work. It didn't record half of it. So here we are
Yeah.
back again with a round two.
Yes.
So we've had a
Just
rehearsal
bear with
session, I
us.
suppose. Yeah.
Uh,
So we already know everything that's going to be said. So if we don't sound as like shocked and entertained, it's just because we already know about it all. So, but
Thankfully, we
it's
don't
here
have
for y'all to
notes.
enjoy. Yeah,
hmm
true, true. So, do you want to take away what we are actually talking about today, since they didn't hear the first one?
Yeah, so it's a really good thing that this is like a fun topic. It's just not a topic we've talked about
Yeah,
for about 2 years. We're gonna be sharing
yeah.
kind of like our brief summary of our engagement, but more focusing on like
hmm
our wedding day, cute moments and sweet, just walk throughout our wedding day with us.
hmm
Yeah.
just fun,
So you
and
might be able to
like
take
if
something
y'all
away
want,
from this.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
if y'all want to take tips, go
Yes.
ahead. If not, don't blame you. you know. But we're just over here to live our best life and honestly just relive the best day of our life. One of the best days of our life.
So Cheyenne's gonna kick us off and just share her story.
Yeah. So it's kind of honestly comical to me because you dated so much longer than I did. So
Yeah.
like your relationship spans a lot more time than mine. I was the type of person that like I was like, I'm gonna date for a year before I even think about engagement stuff, all that
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Well, our engagement was like, I mean, our dating was like 8 months, I think. I think we dated for 8 months before we got engaged, 7 months. But let me think. 7 months.
Excuse me.
And then we were engaged. So
Wow, that's
definitely had to eat my
crazy.
words on that. But yeah. But yes, we got engaged October of 2021. And we had a 4 month engagement, which, like, in general, 4 months is pretty decently quick. But we genuinely didn't want to wait that long because we were just like so ready to get married. And I had like been kind of planning things already beforehand. So I didn't really need tons of time for stuff really all that much besides putting my plans into actions. But just with like other weddings, there was like so many other weddings around that same time, and then babies, you come from big families, there's always just like different things you have to work around. We ended up having like it was a little over 4 month engagement. We got married February of 2022. Um, it's so funny because that's another thing that I crack up at myself because I was like, I am not doing a winter wedding. I refuse. It's gonna be summer. I like, don't want to take pictures out in the cold, like all this stuff. And yeah, then I had a February wedding, but it worked out great. So yeah, engagement. I honestly don't remember what I did at first, but besides like trying to figure out the wedding date, because that took like a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
working around things, trying to figure out the wedding date. And we kind of had like two different dates that were kind of like tossing back and forth. Once we got the date set, it helped a lot with like kicking off like actual planning. But um I I guess probably the first thing I started worrying about was like dress. Just cause like that's just like the really one of the most important things besides like photographer's dress.
Mm-hmm.
Um I don't remember at what point I messaged the photographer, but she said yes right away, so it was like super easy. Um, so I had ordered a dress online because I was kind of like on a budget, and I had found this dress that I liked decently enough that like had potential for me to like fix up and do the things that I wanted to do with it in alterations. And so I ordered it, and then I started thinking about it. And then this was like November. I was like, I want to just do a dress appointment. Like, I want to just get the vibes. I want to have like, my bridesmaids come with me and just do the try on, like all this stuff, like how fun. Um, And your sister actually was the one who recommended the bridal shop that I went to.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so I think it would have been like end of November was probably when we went dress shopping. And it was so cool because you were able to be there, which is like just
Yes.
fun. She just happened to be in town, and so she was able to come along. So I had like a couple sisters, and actually, all my sisters. What?
I think all of
Okay,
your
no.
sisters were there. Was
Were all
Trisha
my
there?
sisters there? Was Trisha? I was
I
gonna say
think
I don't
so.
remember if Trisha was there or not. Okay, so I think I had all my sisters, and then you, and then I had a lady who had kind of been like my mom out here because my mom couldn't make it, so she came in, and then we FaceTimed my mom. So it was just so fun, such fun vibes, and um, I kind of had like a pretty specific style of what I wanted in mind. Like I pretty much had narrowed down to pretty much what I thought I wanted. So I kind of went in. I was like, I want this and this and that. Because what my idea that I had in my head, I had actually found a dress online. I forgot to say this. I had found a dress online that was the exact dress that I wanted, but it was like off of Pinterest, and it was like I think it was off Etsy. It's like this handmade from a different country type situation, and I was just like,
Hmm.
I just didn't get a good feeling from it for it, like, to be like legitimate, but it was so beautiful, and like I wanted it so bad. So that was the style I had in mind. It was like long sleeves. um it was like not like it was like I'm gonna try to explain this in a way that's like not confusing, but it was like flowy sleeves, and they had some lace in them, but it wasn't like full lace. It was like partially like sheer and partially lace, and then the cuffs were lace, and it had just like the lace bodice, and but it was like not like ugly lace. It was like kind
Yeah,
of
there's a
bohemian,
difference.
and
Mm-hmm.
then the bottom was like super flowy, like chiffon bottom. It was just I loved it. But then I was like, I just don't feel good about it, like it being legitimate or whatever. So, yeah, so I'd ordered that other dress. So I kind of went into the bridal store with like this vision of this one dress in my head. And so I said, like, I want long sleeves, like, I want the chiffon bottom, blah, blah, blah. And she pulled like everything that they had off the rack because, like, you have to buy off the rack with that short of a timeline. Um, and just every dress, like I don't even know how many dresses. I probably tried like 10 dresses, maybe more, probably more. And I would just go out and be like, no, 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 like
Mm-hmm.
this isn't even close to
Yeah.
what like I want. And so I was starting to get a little discouraged. And like, I mean, I wasn't even in there like to buy a dress, but I was still getting discouraged because I was like, nothing's even close. Um, and then I'd seen this one dress that was like hanging in the room, in the dressing room. And I was like, did I try that one on? And she said, no, but it had like the crepe bottom instead of the chiffon bottom. So she was like, you can try it on, but it's just not the bottom that you want. And I was like, oh, that's fine. I'll just try it on for kicks and giggles. So I tried that on, and I was like, shoot, like this is actually like, I love this dress a lot. And um, I came out of the dressing room. All of you girls were gone. You guys had all gone on a search to find me a
We did.
different dress because, like, yeah, because we were all kind of just like, this is not hitting the nail on the head. Like, we got to figure out something else. So all y'all were gone, and here I am in this like first dress that I actually like love. And Marcy's, my sister, said that she'd seen me from like across the room or like across the bridal store, and she was like, that's it. And she just came running back as fast as she could to tell me that this was my dress. um but it's just very comical looking back at like the videos that you had taken, because I was thinking about the price, because like it was very reasonably priced dress, but it needed to have a lot of alterations done because it was like
Mm-hmm. Too
four
big.
it was like four sizes too big.
Yeah.
So it was like quite big, and I'm like, okay, alterations are going to be this much and this much. And then I was like, I already have that other dress on order, but I'm like, but I love this one so much more. And I was just like back and forth in my head. Like my head was just like spinning that whole time. But I was like, I love it so much. And I loved the train. Like the train was stunning. And I was like, I was like, this dress, like, I won't be able to get this dress on my head. Like, there's no way. And this Brado store was like an hour and a half from where I live. So it wasn't even like I could like go home and sleep on it and come back
Yeah.
the next day. I mean, technically I could have, but like, who wants to do that? So finally I was just like, shoot, you know what? I just have to get it. So I got it. I'm obsessed with it. I still love it. I will say I was pretty set on the chiffon bottom. I was pretty set on the flowy bottom. And that is one thing if I could change something about my dress, that would be the one thing I would change. Because the
Yeah.
crepe is like a little more fitted, a little more heavy. Um, but besides that, I love everything about it. So it worked out perfectly. Um, so yeah, that was so fun and exciting. And then, um, oh, another thing that I had thought of that I hadn't put in the first one was I don't even know if I told you this. So I came to South Carolina when? January? No, it was before that.
Um,
When did I come to South Carolina? Was it November? Cause or October? It was October. It was the week after we got engaged.
okay, because I don't
I came to
remember.
South Carolina for a wedding,
Okay.
and
Oh
I
yeah.
had these like cute little bridesmaid boxes with like little bracelets in them that I was gonna ask you and then another one of my friends to be my bridesmaid in. Literally forgot about the boxes. They were left at home. You guys never did get them, I don't
Uh,
think. I don't even know what happened. They probably got thrown away in like process of packing. But yeah, so I had these cute little bridesmaid boxes that just never did come around. So I asked you, and then I asked another friend on that trip to be my bridesmaid, and then my sisters I asked. I don't remember when, and then another friend I asked when I had seen her out west. But anyways, it was just fun. Um, and then after that, our engagement was kind of sucky because we did have to do long distance for a couple months. Um, that was really hard. I like have so much sympathy for anyone who has to do long distance in their relationship because we did it for 2 months and it was terrible. Um, but got everything planned, got everything ready. It was pretty like planning was really fun for me. I really enjoy planning that kind of stuff, so I didn't have any stress on it. Um, I did keep things pretty simple too. I did mostly like greenery and flowers. So that probably helped a lot on just like
mm-hmm.
decoration planning stress and um I don't know. I feel like yeah, I feel like everything went so smoothly that like I didn't really have much stress on planning, which I'm very thankful for. Um I went to Michigan. So my wedding was in Michigan. I live in South Dakota. And I grew up in Michigan, so I wanted my wedding to be in Michigan because it's just like super pretty there and everything. So I went up there 2 weeks before my wedding. So I was having my dress altered in Michigan because I like the lady that is there is really good. And like we've
Mm-hmm.
brought all
She
our
is.
bridesmaid dresses and stuff to her. So I wanted to have her do my dress because I trusted her a lot. So I didn't see my dress until 2 weeks before my wedding. I did my first try on. So that was like one thing I was a little nervous about because I was like, I know she's gonna do a good job, but like, what if something isn't right and there's no time? Like, all that stuff
Yeah.
that you think about. But it was perfect. She did an incredible job. Like, I literally am like shook at how good of a job she did. Um, so yeah, so I went up 2 weeks before my wedding. Um, Damon was getting our house ready, so I had to move like all my stuff into the house before I even left. And it was just so fun because he's like getting the house all remodeled and like I'm like moving all my stuff into the basement and it was just so sweet and fun. Um, and yeah, honestly, like, I don't know. I feel like maybe I just didn't care very much or something, but I feel like even wedding week seemed really chill to me. Like, obviously, it was busy in the sense that you're just like doing things and getting ready and getting prepped and like getting all that last minute stuff done, but I feel like it ended up being like pretty chill. Um, Besides the fact that my family started getting the flu, which that was fun. um, Yeah, that was a little. Well, okay, so here's the deal. So, like, my entire family was staying at my parents' house. I was staying at my parents' house. I think all of you bridesmaids were staying at my parents' house. I even had a couple of friends there. So it was like the house was packed.
Yeah, it
So it's like
was.
if someone's gonna get sick, either
We're
you're
all getting sick.
quarantining or the whole family's getting sick. So
Yeah.
that was pretty stressful. There's a lot of prayers going up, but unfortunately, by the time our wedding day came around, there was several people sick. Thankfully, nobody in the bridal party, and thankfully, like no
Somehow.
parents. But
Yeah.
somehow, yeah. Um, yeah. So rehearsal. Oh, I guess the one big stress I did have was I had ordered my flowers from Sam's Club because you can actually get really nice florals from Sam's Club if you want to do all that, like all the florals yourself. Just a little tip for anyone who's like more budget minded. Um, get your florals from Sam's Club. They have like really good options. For like greenery and stuff. So yeah, so we did all our own florals. I'll say we because I didn't make the bouquets, you guys did. Um, but um so it was wintertime. Thursday before our wedding was on Saturday. We got like this massive snowstorm. I kid you not, it probably snowed like a foot of snow. Like we got so much snow, and my florals got canceled. My floral delivery got canceled. And so I was like kind of stressing a little bit on Thursday because I'm like, okay, we were planning on getting like XYZ done on Thursday so we didn't have to do it on Friday. Um, but I wasn't too stressed until I found out that they didn't even think they could get them to us like at all. And I'm like, okay, now what? Like I can't go to a floral shop and expect them to have like this
Yeah.
is Houghton, Michigan. Like this is not no big city vibes. Like they're not gonna have stuff on hand. It's the dead of winter. Like everything's gonna have to be ordered. Like there isn't gonna be anything. And like I said, like a majority of my decor was greenery and flower. Like basically greenery. I had a lot. I had olive branches. So
Mm-hmm.
um I like Friday I was just like so stressed. So my mom takes the initiative. She's messaging, she's emailing. I think she called a few people. She was doing the most. And they got those things on a plane and they got in at like 3 to 4 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah.
So we were a little behind schedule as far as that went, but like it went so smoothly. Um, it's just funny to me because I was decorating the arbor in the sanctuary or like the arch in the sanctuary, and I think it was Bean or you or something came up to me and you're like, rehearsal starting in 10 minutes. I didn't even know. So I had to go run and get ready really quick and go to rehearsal. Like stuff was half done and then rehearsal went very smoothly, I think. Didn't
Mm-hmm.
it? I think
It
rehearsal
was
went
very
smoothly.
smooth. I
Yeah. And
normally
then
hate
we ate and then
rehearsals,
I
but
just
yours was really good.
yeah, I had such good personal attendance too,
Mm-hmm.
which shout out to them. They were amazing. So yeah, so rehearsal went good, and then we ate rehearsal dinner, and then kind of just went straight back to just keeping up with the decorating. Um, I was there till about like 8 p.m. It was so funny because I was enjoying myself. I wasn't stressed. We had already had our last night out on Thursday. What did we do for my last night out? I
Mm-hmm.
forgot. What did we do?
Well, we went out to
Oh, we
dinner,
went out to
and
dinner.
then yeah, we played. What is that called? The game at Walmart.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, yes, because we
Was
were
it a
supposed to
scavenger
do
hunt?
something else. We were supposed to do because I remember Marcy and Bean saying there was something else though that we were supposed to do,
Swimming. We had talked
but it was
about
like
swimming,
partially we talked
like
about something,
renting a
but then they
pool.
had planned something else. But with due to the weather, they had to because like partial of it was outside. I don't know. I don't even remember what it was. I'll have to ask her.
Yeah,
But
you
yeah,
will.
so last minute they had to change it, and we did that scavenger hunt at Walmart, and then all of us bridesmaids and personal attendants and me went to my sister-in-law's apartment and did a little just like little thing there, which was so sweet. Um,
Yeah,
so
that's
yeah, so we
fun.
did all that on Thursday, and then so Friday, like we didn't have a last night out to go to, so um, after rehearsal, I was just vibing, just like putting up. I think I was setting up my all the greenery behind the bridal table. I think that's what I was doing. And I remember you and Jana kept coming up to me being like, Jana was my other bridesmaid. He kept being like, "Do you need help? Are you okay? Are you stressed? Are you fine?" I was like, "Girl, I'm chilling. Y'all can go home if you want to." It was just fun because like Damon was there, like he was helping me, so it was just we were just spending time together because it's like you take all the quality time you can with your fiance before your wedding day.
Mm-hmm. I
Um,
totally agree.
so yeah, it was just like I just remember I remember that day just being fun. Like I don't remember really having any stress beyond like the flowers getting there on time. Um, which funny enough that whole behind the bridal table situation, all those or like half of the greenery fell down, and no one noticed and fixed it. So like,
I
and
know.
I
I
didn't
don't know.
notice enough to. I think I might have noticed like the morning of and maybe mentioned something, and then it just totally slipped my mind and like didn't
I
even
don't know
notice it
how we
again
didn't
until I looked
notice.
back at pictures.
Yeah.
I looked back at pictures and I was like, oh, that all fell down, but it was fine. Like it didn't look terrible. Um, yeah. So then that night, I remember there was a ton of people over that night because I remember
There was.
David and I pulling into the driveway, and we were like, no, and we just went and drove around for a while because we were like, we want some time to ourselves. This is our last night before our wedding day, and also we were like, we kind of wanted to just stay away from the sickness as much as we possibly could. That's probably another reason why I was fine with chilling at the church till like 8:30. Um, but yeah, we just went and drove around for a while before we came home. But yeah, there was a lot of people there. But it was just fun vibes. Besides the sickness, it was fun vibes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then wedding morning. Um, so Damon and I wrote each other letters for our wedding day, but we didn't want to read them in front of the videographer and photographer. We just wanted to just like have it be like really sweet and personal and special. So like not anything against anyone who does. It was just our personal preference. Damon's not a very like he just isn't that comfortable in front of cameras and stuff. So, and not that I am either, but he
Yeah.
like notices it more than I do. So we wanted it to just be like super personal. Um, so we got up at like 7 a.m. and just met up or like I picked him up from my brother's house and we just went and drove down to the lake, one of the lakes that I went to as a kid. And obviously it was totally full of snow, but we just went down there and we read our letters and like opened our presents, and it was just like so sweet, just like having that little like half hour together. We prayed together, prayed for like the day to go smoothly and like the nerves, and just it was just such a precious little thing to do. And like especially I'll advise this to anyone who deals with more like nerves and stuff on your wedding day. Like that is a really good way to calm down and just like remember the marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
Just remember the reason why. It was really sweet. I know some people have superstitions about seeing you before, but I was like, we're like, we're not into that. We believe in God. Like, we don't believe in superstition. Uh, so it was just, yeah, it was a really, really precious thing. And then Bean picked, or like I went, picked up Bean, and then we went to the church and got ready, and it was just so fun.
Us
Drank our
girls got
coffees, and
we got extremely stuck on the way to your wedding.
you did?
Yeah, it was hilarious. We're all dying laughing. In your
Oh
parents'
my
driveway, like
goodness.
it's kind of like up a little hill and there was
Oh, I
banks of
think I might
snow
have
on
heard
either
about this.
side. We backed
Yeah, there was
into like
so much snow.
we eased into that bank of
Backed into the
snow.
snow.
And I'm pretty sure it was either your dad or one of your brothers literally watched it happen. They're just shaking their head. We're just dying
No,
laughing.
that
It was
is
such
so
a good
funny.
time.
I feel like I think Trish said something about that. That is
It
so
was
funny. Yeah, no,
funny.
there was
Yeah.
so much snow. Like we had like probably some of the most snow that I remember that year.
Yeah.
I feel like that's one of the biggest comments I got on my wedding photos was how much snow there was.
I'm
Um,
sure.
but yeah.
It was cozy.
It
It
was
was
super
very
cold in the
cozy.
church. Remember that?
Oh, at
How
first.
cold it
We're
was in the
waiting for that
church.
one guy to get
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were like hopping around trying to stay warm. I'm like wrapped up in my flannel, like most of the getting ready photos, I'm like wrapped up in my flannel, and but still just everything, I don't know. I feel like wedding morning went so good. I guess that was just me. I don't know if you guys were just like
No, it was
not
so
telling me
sweet.
things. I feel like it just went so good, and like I just remember being like so happy and fun and just like hanging out with all my favorite people. And um I got my hair done first, so I was kind of like done and waiting. for everyone else. And so I helped with like my flower girl's hair, and Bean has this it's actually so comical. Bean has this video, and I'm in the background like hopping by the doorway, literally like hopping, like, come on Asia, let's go do your hair. I'm like, I was
Must have
so
been
happy, I
happy
was
or
so out of
excited.
it. Something. Well, also cold, probably was just an all of the above. But yeah, I just remember just being so happy and it just being like so precious. And then um we did a little bridesmaid first, like when I got into my dress. So I got into my dress in a different room with my mom, and
Oh, that was so cute.
then y'all came over there. We did a little first look, and then um how is she already awake? She'll be fine. She might just cuddle me, but
Yeah. She's so cute.
here, you can't. You gotta either go one way or the other because otherwise you can be hitting the microphone. Yeah. Ugh. Anyways, it was on first.
Oh yeah, you had the first look with the bridesmaids.
Yeah. And then I did my first look with Damon, and it was just precious. And um, hang on. And then we drove to the spot that we did photos. Oh my word, it was such a sweet job. I just remember, like, you're finally together, all like looking good. And
Dolled up,
I just
yeah.
remember just like we kept like looking at each other like, like this is real, this is so fun, like we look so good, because you're both
So
feeling
cute.
good and you think the other one looks like the cutest thing ever. Um, it was just so sweet. But he did tell me on the way there, he's like, I don't feel very good. Like, no. So we prayed about that too, because yikes. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, photos I feel like went super smoothly.
quick.
Um,
They were very
it was
quick.
a little bit cold. Yeah, it was a little cold. It was probably like 30, 32 degrees or something, and it was windy, which I was like, I think God was just like doing that out of humor because I had said I wasn't going to have my wedding in South Dakota because it's too windy there. So, he had to make my wedding day in Michigan windy. But it worked out fine. It was really a beautiful day, especially for it being February. It was such a beautiful
It
day. It
was.
was like
And it was
30,
sunny.
it's like 32 degrees. It was sunny. Yeah, it like wasn't freezing cold at all, which I was really thankful for. Um, and we yeah, so we did photos. I think photos went really well. We got back to the church and we had like an hour between photos and the wedding ceremony just to like chill and eat and all that stuff. So we just chilled for a while, and Damon informed me that he still wasn't feeling well, and I was just like, can you make it through the wedding? Like, are we good? Like, are we good? Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know how bad he was feeling. He just said he didn't feel good. So I was like, yikes. I'm like, is this nerves? Is this sickness? Like, what is this? Um,
Everything's
but yeah,
suspicious at
so
that point.
yeah, because okay, so at this point, one of my brothers was able to come for pictures, and then he had to go home. One of my other brothers, I think, was just throwing up in the bathroom every once in a while and then pretending like he was fine. I had like however many nieces and nephews that were sick. Like there was a lot of people sick in my family already at this point, so it was pretty bad. Um, so wedding ceremony, mom designated my sister to go and tell the pastor, the preacher, like doing the message to keep his message short because of how many people that were getting sick. I didn't know this until like 2 weeks ago, which is kind of funny. So yeah, so ceremony went good. I cried walking down the aisle. It's kind of funny. I think it was kind of a mix of a lot of things. So I had God You're So Good as the song for walking down the aisle. And it just like it meant the song just like meant so much to us. And it was just so precious and like, you know, stuff we had been through and dating and whatever. Like it just it like but to us personally it meant a lot. And then just like, you know, you get to marry your best friend. It was just so sweet. So yeah, I kind of was blubbering pretty much the whole ceremony. I feel like off and on here and there, but it's fine. We made it through. So I had my brothers, my 5 older brothers sing, and then I had one of my brothers and my sister sing the wedding song by I don't know why I cannot remember his name. I think it's Matt something, but I could be wrong. Anyways, it's just a super sweet wedding song, and it was just precious. I had one of my actually it was like my sister's best friend. She played the piano, so it was just super sweet. The guy who did the message for our wedding was just like a really close mentorish guy to us. So the whole thing was just so precious. It's not that like I remember all that much from it, but just like how personal and precious it was. It was just I just love it. And then yeah, one thing I will say though is when you leave the wedding like ceremony, like specify that you need like 2 seconds before you get pounced on, because we literally got to the back of the church. We didn't have 1 second and like all you guys were behind us, which like we never specified anything. Like we didn't say wait till we get to the end to even start walking out or whatever. Also, it's a pretty like short aisle. It's not like a long aisle.
We
But
probably
yeah, I will
ran
say
out
like
though.
at least you probably I think you did, because I kind of said like it's fine, I don't care. But yeah, at least specify to like the best man and maid of honor, like wait till we're at the end of the aisle before you start coming out. So at least we can like be like, we're married, yeehaw, you know.
Yeah.
But it's okay. So yeah, so we didn't really get like a second at all, honestly, until we left the church, which was fine. But we did a receiving line, which I kind of highly recommend just because it helped a lot with just like being able to like, you know, everyone can congratulate you and then you can thank them for coming and like all that stuff. You just get it done and out of the way. You know, there's a lot of people traveling and stuff. It was just really nice. And then we didn't really get interrupted when we were eating. Like we had a couple people come up and take pictures of us and talk to us, but it wasn't like everyone's come up and congratulating you like as you're eating. It was just yeah, it was really nice. I like it. Some people don't like doing receiving lines. That's perfectly fine, but for us it was nice. And it went really fast. It wasn't like it was like hours of receiving line. I think we probably would have given up at that. Would have been like, no, it's fine. I'm starving. Let's go eat. Yeah, so we go and sit down to eat, and Damon informs me again that he's not feeling well. And I'm like, okay, at this point, I think you're just hungry, because I think if you would have been not feeling good for this long, you would have like something would have happened. Okay,
it's been hitting pretty quick.
Yeah. So at that point I was kind of like not really worried about it. I mean, I like felt bad for him for not feeling it, but I wasn't really worried about him throwing up at that point, because I was like, I think it's just all the nerves and adrenaline and everything getting to him. But yeah, so we ate. I don't even remember tasting the food very much. I think I ate just like broccoli salad. I don't even think I ate anything else.
Oh my goodness.
Because I remember like I love broccoli salad, and I remember like specifying like I want broccoli salad, but I don't even remember eating anything else.
Broccoli salad is so good.
And like it is so good. Yeah, and then like even with the cake, like we ate the one bite that we fed each other, and I didn't even eat any more cake, which is really sad because that cake was really good. But yeah, we ate. We did.
Were you sent food with when you left?
We
Did
were
people like
supposed
send
to
food
be,
with
and
you?
then they forgot to send it with us. They had it all
Oh.
packed up, but they forgot to send it with us. Which it was so cute because mom even had gotten like all like Damon's favorite. She loves Damon, okay? Like, I always tell Damon, I'm like, I'm pretty sure that you're mom's favorite son in law. Like, no offense to any of the other son in laws. I think she just gives Damon special treatment. She literally bought like the specific candy that she knows he likes to pack in our bag. And
That is
it was
so
just so cute.
sad.
Yeah. But it makes for good memories, which I'll tell in a bit. But yeah, so we um the maid of honor did a speech. I was actually just thinking this. Did I ask you guys to do a speech and you guys said no?
No, I think it was just Serena. I don't think we
It
were
wasn't
supposed to do
supposed to
speeches.
be.
Really?
No, you were. Okay, but I was like, I could have just have thought it in my head and not have said anything. Because I know
Yeah, because I
Bean
would have been
had,
down. I love
and then,
speeches.
yeah, so I think because we were trying to get, um, I think we were trying to get one or two of the groomsmen too. And then I had asked, maybe I had asked Jana, not you. I don't remember because I remember asking one of the bridesmaids, I was like, can you, like, if you want to go ahead, like, I'm totally fine with, like, you guys go ahead. Like, if you don't want to, that's fine. I'm not going to pressure you. But I just don't, I don't know. I was like, maybe I said it in my head. I never said it out loud. Like, you're in wedding
Shoot,
mode.
I
You're
don't
totally
remember. I don't remember it being a
blocked.
conversation.
So, yeah, it could have been up. But either way, it's fine. So, Bean did her speech. It was really
Yeah.
sweet. And then we did our cake cutting, marriage license, whatever, all that stuff. We didn't get thrown because I was too worried about Damon throwing up if he got there. And then we did the garter toss and the bouquet toss and like all the generic normal stuff. And then we kind of got kicked out because everyone's like getting sick and wanting to go home. So we left. We left at probably, I think it was like 6:30. So it was like, I mean, our wedding was at 4. So we really weren't there very long at all. Um, and everyone was kind of just like trying to hurry us out the door, which is like, I don't blame them, but I will always say, like, I think we got kicked out of our own reception just because everyone was
That's
getting sick.
terrible, though.
Well, no, but it makes sense because I'm like, I mean, literally, like, by the next morning, mom had messaged me and told me that there was like 23 people sick in my family, which is pretty much the whole family.
Yeah,
Um,
it was crazy.
so they were wanting to get everything cleaned up and just like get out of there before it got worse. But um, we get in the car and 5 minutes down the road, Damon's like, I feel great. I'm hungry. I'm like, boy, I was right all along. It was just nerves. So like I said, how it made for good memories of not having our food basket is that we actually stopped at Culver's. So the place we were staying at was 2 hours away from where the wedding was. And we were like starving. So we're like, we cannot, like, we're so hungry. So we went to Culver's and it was like so fun because Culver's is kind of the place that we would go to a lot when we were dating. So it was like, here we were, like just married, like eating our Culver's, which was just, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but another thing
That would
that's
be
just kind
such
of a
a
little funny.
flex, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like we have like our car is like all decorated as like just married stuff and like we're just like going through the drive through. It was just funny. We didn't have our wedding clothes on though, sadly. But yeah, so we didn't go to Culver's in our wedding clothes because like I said, we were staying at a place that was like 2 hours away from the wedding or like from my parents' house. Um the hotel was. So we were like, let's just run. I do not recommend this, I will say. We're like, let's just run to my parents' house, change our clothes, and then we just don't have to like take because we were driving on our honeymoon. We did a road trip, so like I don't have to like take my wedding dress on the road trip, and like we don't need someone to drive 2 hours just to go pick up our wedding clothes from the hotel.
Yeah.
And not thinking about the fact that like half of my family was home by the time we got there. Okay, not like we were like, we're just gonna run home, go
Mm-hmm.
change our clothes,
Yeah,
leave
I
as
know.
fast as we can. Okay. Um, we got stopped by like 3 different people, and they're like, "Have fun, hee hee hee." It was so, we were like, oh my word, don't look at us, like we're trying to get on it here, you know. Which like now we just laugh at it because it's just like funny, but at the moment we're like walk in the door and there's just like my brother,
Oh
hi.
my goodness.
And I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to go down. I mean, not, yeah, like not anything weird, like, but it was just comical. But yeah, so that was our wedding day, and then we went on our honeymoon. We road tripped to Padre Island. It's like right off of Corpus Christi. We spent a week there, and then we went to Galveston for a couple nights just for the fun of it. We went to San Antonio for a couple nights just for the fun of it on our way home because it was kind of like on the way home. So we went there, and then we drove home, and so we had like a 3 week honeymoon, but it was just, it was fun. The weather didn't really cooperate for us on our honeymoon, which is just like a little bit sad. So there was like things that we wanted to do that we weren't able to do because it was like raining a lot. But still, it's your honeymoon. It's just like you always look back and it's just so precious. But yeah, we came home and set up house and started our life together. It was just sweet. I always just get so like, oh, when I think
That is
about all those
amazing. I love it.
memories.
Yeah, because it is so sweet. Like, it's such a sweet time.
I know, and I'm like, even though like obviously things didn't go ideally for us, like, who wants the flu? You know, who wants to deal with the, like, we didn't get the flu, thank the Lord. Like, there were so many prayers going up for us from so many people,
Yeah.
which we're so thankful. But like, you don't want your family getting the flu on your wedding night. That's like one of the worst things to happen.
No.
But like, just so you know, it's not gonna ruin your wedding day. Like, not very much.
No,
can
you'll still
actually
have good
ruin your wedding day.
memories.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, like, I think everyone else had fun. I don't know, but like, we just had so much fun, even though like, yeah, even though there was sickness, even though like it was the dead of winter, and yeah, it was still just like so precious and fun.
Yep.
So
No, overall, like the vibes were so good, and it was like everybody was so happy. I remember when we were getting ready, like extended or friends of friends had like brought us like treats from the coffee shop nearby because they were literally just so excited for you. Like they just wanted to stop in and like see you quick before your wedding day, or like, you know, just
I
catch all
honestly
the
don't
happiness.
remember that,
and,
but
yeah, it was just such a fun time.
Okay, yeah, like I remember being given a coffee from someone that like I was like, oh my word, hi, but I totally was so spaced out at that.
No, everybody was just so happy for you guys, and that was just like an example. Like they just wanted to like stop in and like say hi really quick.
That's
But yeah,
so
no, it was such a sweet time.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get into yours.
Hey guys, so Cheyenne had to she had to run along, and I am just going to finish out this podcast sharing my story, just us. So my story of engagement. So Cheyenne got married in February. I think we had said that. I got engaged like literally the week before she got married. Our engagement was pretty quick. We were working around a few babies, with our siblings having children, and a few other weddings. 2 of Aaron's other siblings got married the same year we did, or the same summer, really. I think it was like 3 or 4 months span that all 3 of us got married. So we had a short engagement. We got married June 4th. That's actually the wedding anniversary for my great grandparents. That was really sweet. My great grandparents lived until they were very old, and I was fortunate enough to have a relationship with them. And growing up, we actually thought they were just grandpa and grandma. Like we called them Papa and Granny, but I didn't really see a difference in Papa and Granny and my true grandparents. So anyway, super thankful for that. I feel like it's funny because when I think back about our wedding, I always think about the sentimental parts. Like that's the parts I remember are like the sentimental little snippets, and that is the parts that stay with you if you're a sentimental person. So just kind of a brief overview of our engagement. My family lives in the Midwest, so I was here obviously during my engagement. I live here in South Carolina. this is where we are today. I think the first thing we really did was try to figure out a date. That was actually extremely hard, especially if you're working around other family weddings and that sort of thing. I was surprised how difficult it was to pick a date. And then we picked a date, and one of our close family members messaged us and said like they're not going to be able to come because when they would have their baby, it just wouldn't work. So then we reconsidered and picked another date. And anyway, and like I said, it was June 4th and it ended up being the perfect day for us. We did decide to get married outside. That's a huge gamble here in South Carolina. If y'all know, we have serious heat. And I have been to some summer weddings here that have been hot. So we knew it was a big gamble. Kind of thought it'd be worth it, and it definitely was. However, we did a very late ceremony. So we did 6 p.m. I wanted to have as late as possible so the sun would be going down a little bit, hopefully, and help with the heat. And then we made sure to have AC for our reception, so we didn't have hot all day. So yeah, we had 2 locations, which I can't say I regret it because it ended up being so beautiful, but I will let you know it's a lot of work. Especially, we were fortunate enough our aunt and uncle let us get married in their property, and it's a decent amount of preparation, that goes into an outdoor wedding, and you basically start from nothing and make a ceremony location. Chairs and speakers and piano and all of that has to be brought out. So just something to keep in mind. If you're doing multiple locations or if you're doing an outdoor wedding, there may be more that goes into it than you're anticipating. We had so many people helping us, like family, even friends. Like there was just so many people helping us, and you don't realize how much help you need until you start having a wedding, especially with big families and multiple locations. Like our wedding was a lot of work, and I appreciate everybody who helped so much. But so yeah, the first thing we did was just pick a date. And I think the next thing we did was I think I went dress shopping. Because I didn't want to ask my bridesmaids right away. Yeah, so I think I went dress shopping and went dress shopping 3 different places. Ended up finding this place. If you're in South Carolina, I'm literally going to say the name of the store because they're so good. Madison, Carolina. I think they're in Simpsonville, South Carolina. Madison, Carolina bridal store. The people there are so sweet, and they weren't extremely pushy. Like obviously you could tell their job was to sell you the dress, but it wasn't, they wouldn't lie to you. They're not going to say, oh, this is your dress, and you felt and looked terrible in it. They were not going to lie to you, and they weren't going to like push you to purchase it right away. Which I really appreciated, because you'll notice really quickly that some places don't care what you look like. They just want you to buy the dress. So, that was so fun. Just the bridal dress shopping experience was so fun. And I also wanted to share this. So I had like some sense of like urgency to hurry up and select this dress and purchase it, because I don't know. Looking back, I don't know where I got this from. But in my head, I was like, okay, we're getting married in 3 months, less than 3 months probably at this point. I need to get this dress. I need to get this altered. I think I stressed it. Maybe that's where I got it from. But I just wanted to say, if you live in a location that has several dress stores, don't worry about buying a dress really quickly. Most bridal stores, especially since COVID, most bridal stores are going to let you buy off the rack. I know Cheyenne had limited resources, or limited dress stores, like she mentioned in her story, so she kind of did have to buy really quickly. So I guess if you live in a more rural area, this might not apply to you. But if you live somewhere that has several dress store options, try the dress on, go home. Like, it is a big decision, you know? It really is, because how you'll picture your whole wedding day is how you felt in your wedding dress. At least that's how I picture my wedding day. So, I worked full time up until a week before my wedding. Obviously, my husband works. I ended up moving into my home. I think it was just after I got engaged. No, maybe it was before. Around the time we got engaged, I moved into my first home. And then our first home, really, but Aaron didn't end up joining me there till June. But that was a big ordeal, just getting in there. It was new construction, so just wrapping up the build, pulling my first house mortgage, all the milestones at one time. 2022 was a big year. So much fun. And people can make all the jokes they want about like adulting, but it's a good time. And like, God just helps you, walks you through it. And like, I don't know, you do these serious things and you're just going through the motions. So yeah, going back to our engagement, I'm not going to go through each planning detail. I will say I did have a wedding binder, and that bad boy had every detail in the book. I had photos of how I wanted the bouquets to look, photos of decor, table decoration photos, contact numbers of every single person at the bridal party, every single vendor, a list, like a spreadsheet of deposits and who I had paid, and who, I think there was 1 or 2 people that I had money due on the wedding day. Like, lists of all that. I ended up writing all my thank yous and put them in a Ziploc bag in that binder and gave them my wedding coordinator. So I legit had like, I felt like at times, you know how you get like at the end of your engagement? I felt like my brain was more in that binder than it was on my head. It's because you have family coming into town, you're excited, you know, all the buzz, and literally just the buzz of like the end of an engagement, wedding week. I was like, y'all, that binder has my brain in it, because yeah, that's just how it felt. So that was kind of fun. What else was I gonna say? I guess there's not really anything else to mention on the engagement. I will say, I would I would definitely suggest taking more than 1 week off before your wedding of work. Like, I would suggest taking probably 2 weeks. There really isn't much to do if you were to take more than that, but I would suggest, excuse me, what's going on with my throat? I would suggest 2 weeks. I just think 1 week was a little bit rushed. Like, that last week of work, I was just a little ditzy. Like, I probably shouldn't have been on site. You know what I'm saying? So that's something to keep in mind. This is not advice, okay? This is literally me thinking over my engagement and wedding day and just sharing tidbits, okay? Wedding day. Let's just go into the wedding day, because I really can't think of all the planning details and stuff. Nothing to talk about. I mean, I don't know. You just make yourself a checklist and go through the motions. So yeah, let's go to the wedding day. Oh my goodness. Actually, I just remembered something I wanted to share. So June through, I want to say August, is like a huge wedding season in South Carolina. And right after we picked our wedding date, the first thing I actually did before dress shopping was pick a photographer and videographer. I messaged 13 people. So much limited availability because we had a shorter engagement, and during like the wedding season, people were just so booked up. We ended up hitting jackpot with our photographer. She was incredible. The sweetest, most down to earth. And Aaron and I don't love pictures. She made us feel totally comfortable, and she was relaxed and happy and sweet the whole day. Oh, she just made the day. Literally so thankful. So yeah, we got ready at my house. the guys got ready at the church where we had our reception, but all of us girls got ready at my house, and it was just super chill and relaxed. It had rained during our rehearsal, and since we got married outside, we weren't able to set up things for the ceremony. We had like the guest book and a few different decor things to set up for the ceremony. So me and a few of my bridesmaids ended up going over to the ceremony location. It was like 15 minutes from my house. So we went over there wedding morning, and it was so fun. So obviously it's my aunt and uncle's house, and my cousins were like driving the golf cart around, and we were just riding on the golf cart, and it was just everyone's just in a good mood. We were just laughing and having such a good time. And then we came back to the house, and I showered, and most of the bridesmaids showed up. There was a few bridesmaids that were doing their own hair and makeup, and they ended up coming later on. But most of us were there. We had breakfast. Literally just thinking back to this morning, and I'm like so thankful for all the people that helped. So sweet. Like everyone was so happy, and it was funny because I had all my sisters there. And I kept asking them, like, hey, can you do this? Or could you grab this? Especially while I was doing my hair, where you have to like sit down and you can't be running around grabbing things. I remember sitting down doing my hair and like asking my sisters, can you do this or can you do that? And our family friend doing my hair was like, you need to ask somebody to clean a toilet. These people would do anything for you. And we were just laughing because it was just funny. Yeah, literally anybody would like, they would do anything just to help you out on your wedding day. It's such like a happy energy. Everybody wants to help, and that was just so sweet. I'm so thankful for them. Oh, I wanted to share something really quick. Sorry, this is kind of jumping around. But so when my sister got married, she got married before me. And my dad, I think it was my dad, maybe my mom helped too, decorate cakes for her wedding. And that's just kind of something they wanted to carry on for their daughters getting married. So we had made the cakes for my wedding earlier in the week, and we didn't have all cake. We had Krispy Kreme donuts as well. So we had made, I think there was 4 or 5 cakes earlier in the week, froze them, and then after rehearsal dinner, my parents and maybe a sister or two went to decorate the cakes. So like the night before my wedding, just hanging out with my parents, decorating the cakes. It was so fun. I loved it so much. Like that's one of my like key memories during this weekend. Oh, there's just so many sweet things. But yeah, love doing that with them. So happy they were down to like tackle that. And homemade cakes are way better than store-bought, you guys. Let's just be honest. Okay, so going back to wedding morning, since I'm skipping around. Going back to wedding morning, we're just getting ready. Everybody looks so pretty. We're taking pictures. I had wrote my bridesmaids all like a little letter. And then, oh my word, so sweet. They had given me a book, and they had each bridesmaid, I think they had a picture and then like a note with favorite memories. Or they could just like write a letter or note or something. So all the bridesmaids had done it, and then they had my aunts and grandma write a letter. It was so sweet. So we're just reading that like during the getting ready pictures. That was so sweet. It was so fun. And like I was so surprised. I love sentimental things. So like my cousin Alyssa had put the book together, and I was like, oh my word, this is the sweetest thing ever. And then my dad had come to my house. We did the first look with my dad at my house. And he had just come. He had been waiting in the driveway while my mom was like helping me get my dress on. And I think a couple of my sisters like helped me put my shoes on. And it's funny because you do remember those details. When you actually think back at the wedding day, you do remember those details. I think if someone were to ask me about my wedding day, as a general whole, you feel like you don't remember anything. And then you get thinking about it and you're like, oh my word. Which is so fun. And what Aaron remembers versus what I remember is so different. So that's kind of fun, like on our honeymoon comparing notes. And especially like what he did throughout the day was so different than what I had done. It was so fun to like compare notes on our honeymoon. And then we pretty much just went right into pictures. Now, I made sure we had a good hour, maybe hour and a half between pictures and our ceremony. Aaron and I had went into the guest bedroom at my aunt and uncle's house, and I was eating lunch, and then he ended up reading his letter, and I read my letter from Aaron. So we didn't have a photographer or anything, but we didn't want the photographer there just because, like I said, we're not huge picture people. So yeah, that was really sweet just to read those in private. And yeah, writing a letter to your husband is very surreal. Like, very surreal. It was crazy, but reading the letters together was so fun. So yeah, we just kind of chilled before the ceremony. The whole day, oh my word. So we took pictures outside at the location of our wedding, and the weather was so nice. Like I said, it's a gamble getting married outside, but the weather was so nice. Like, so it was breezy, and I think I remember sweating a tinky bit, but not like it could have been, like what we thought we might be working against. So thankful for that. I didn't want to be like a huge sweaty mess like in my wedding dress, and I had worn my sister-in-law's veil from her wedding. Oh, it was stunning. I was so happy she allowed me to wear it. But it was so sparkly and so long. I wanted like a super long cathedral veil, and it was literally the perfect candidate. So yeah, I didn't want to be like all slimy and gross in my wedding dress, and it wasn't. Like, it was so nice. Yeah, and then I just remember kind of relaxing and chilling with our family before we ended up getting married. People started showing up. One of my childhood friends had phoned in just for the wedding, and I told her, like, come into the house, like, before you go sit down at the wedding. I want to see you before the wedding. I hadn't saw her in years. The sweetest thing that she ended up flying out for it. That was, like, yeah, another key memory. And then, yeah, just, like, last minute touch-ups, putting chapstick on before the wedding. And then we all were, like, walking up to the ceremony, and my dad had taken a selfie with me, and I literally don't remember the selfie at all until like months later. I was going through his pictures on his phone from our wedding, and I was like, oh my word, this is a selfie before we walked down the aisle. Like, I literally don't remember it, but I'm so glad he has it. Right before I walked down the aisle, there was nobody there to like fix my train, and I looked behind me, and like my dress was like all waddled up from walking from the house to the outside wedding area. I was like, oh my word, there's nobody here to fix my dress. And I looked over, and our wedding coordinator's daughter was sitting in the car, so I like quickly got her out. I was like waving at her like frantically to come help me. And then she ended up fluffing my dress for me before I walked down the aisle, which was so funny. I was laughing. I was like, can you help me? There's no one to fix my dress. So that ended up being really good. And then walking down the aisle was so crazy. So, you know how everyone says like you're just gonna like bawl and like it's just so emotional? I don't remember feeling one thing that was like, you need to cry right now. When I walked down the aisle, I was so happy that I was just like smiling and like so happy. Like, I don't know. I can see why people would cry. And I honestly thought that I would be the one that probably would. But yeah, like, I don't know. Everything just, I was just like, I'm too happy to cry. I didn't even think about crying. And then after, I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't cry. Yeah, sometimes what you expect isn't always the reality. And then another sweet note, my parents moved from South Carolina a couple years before we got married, and when they moved, my childhood piano, so I play piano. My childhood piano was in the basement of the house, and they did not have room to bring it with them, and I wasn't in my house yet, so I was like, I can't take it, I was just in a little rental. And so we ended up just leaving it with the house. The people that bought it got it. But before my wedding, I was just planning on going on Facebook Marketplace, buying a piano on there, and refurnishing it, and then just having someone come tune it. So I think it was probably the month before our wedding, which is kind of funny. I let it go that long, but yeah, like the month before our wedding, I was like on Facebook Marketplace, just scrolling through many pianos. Oh my word, they have so many pianos. And I saw this one, and it had like letters on the keys, just like my mom had done for me when I was like 8. And I was like, hold up. Wait, like that writing looks so familiar. So I was looking at it some more, and I'm like, no, this is my old piano. And sure enough, like the people that had bought our house had listed it for sale. They wanted to get rid of it. And I literally messaged her and I was like, you might remember me. Like, I'm the realtor from when you purchased the house. I would literally love this piano. Like, when can I come pick it up? Is it still available, first of all? And when can I pick it up? And so that was so sweet to be able to have the piano at my wedding that I had learned to play piano on. And I ended up taking it to my husband's shop and like sanding it and chalk painting it white. Which, y'all, it looked nice for the wedding, but I'm telling you, that paint job was sad. That was a sad paint job. I thought it was simple. I thought it was like painting a wall. But that enamel that they put on, the original finish, was so hard to get off. And I don't think I got it all off before I chalk painted it. So it was super. I still have it at my house now, and it's like texturized, you know? It wasn't a 10 out of 10 paint job. But it was so fun just to have that piano there. And the sentiment behind it for me was really sweet. My grandpa married us, and we had our first communion together. Fun little fact. So we decided not to take communion while we were dating. We wanted to take it for the first time when we got married. And my grandpa had actually done confirmation with us. So at our church, when you're like 15, I think it is, you go through confirmation and basically learn all about how the church believes, and you start taking communion then after you go through confirmation. So my grandpa had given both Aaron and I confirmation together, obviously separately. We were in different classes, different years, everything like that. But he had given us our first communion, when we were first confirmed. And then when we got married, he was able to give us our first communion as married people. And that was really special. Really sweet. Really sweet moment. I'm so happy we did communion at our wedding. I just think it added such like a sweet, like almost a serious, but like just a sweet detail. The wedding ceremony, we had done like string lights, which I had saw on Pinterest months before, and I was like, I want string lights up, like the big bulb yard lights. So Aaron and a bunch of the guys, I think my uncle and cousins had helped, set up these big bulb string lights like all around the ceremony. We were in the woods, and even though it was 6:00, so like it was still full on daylight, you could still see the string lighting in the pictures. That was so cool. Like I was like, I don't think you're gonna be able to see it, but I still want the lights up just because I think it'll add something, and it kind of did. But having them in the pictures, I was like so happy. So that was just another random detail I loved. Something I didn't want to do, but we ended up doing, was, the arch. So like you go up the aisle and there's an arch. I didn't want one. But since we got married outside, there wasn't really anything else that would like, kind of set the scene. So we did end up having one. I still to this day didn't love like the arch setting. I feel like it was very overdone, especially when we got married. But at the same time, I know it had to be there because otherwise it would have looked like we were legit in the woods. It wouldn't have looked like I can't can't explain it, but like it wouldn't have looked like when you go to a church, like there is accent at the front of the church, like that's the front of the church. So if we wouldn't have done that, it wouldn't have looked like we were at the front of the ceremony. If that makes sense. So we had about I think it's a 12-minute drive from the wedding ceremony location to the reception ceremony, or not ceremony, but just the reception. We ended up taking a few pictures after the wedding, like bridal pictures. Excuse me. And then we ended up taking pictures, I think for like 10 minutes, like sunset pictures later on after like half of our reception was over. That was really sweet. The sunset pictures was a great idea. So our photographer was like, hey, like, I don't want to take time away from you guys at reception. I would like to do sunset pictures. I think they would turn out beautiful. Just when the time comes, just let me know if you're feeling up to it. So it was kind of cool. We had the option to do that. And it was only like 10 minutes, like I had said. So it wasn't like we were away from like our guests for an hour or something. But I remember sitting in the reception, and it was just so sweet to see like our families all there and like all of our friends. Like, not to be dark with it, like the next time this happens, we'll be at our funeral and we're literally not there. So it was just so fun to like have everybody there in one room. And our food was incredible. We did street tacos and chips and queso and salsa, and so good. Like, I don't know, I loved the wedding food. It was so yummy. I think we did like sodas. Oh, we did Lunchables for kids, which is something that I really wanted to do. So Aaron and I both grew up, Lunchables were like an elite lunch. Like, that is an elite treat. So we had Lunchables for like a little kids table. That turned out really cute. And then we had like a few of my cousins that worked at a coffee shop, and we had them like kind of run like a little coffee shop for us. Not really, but it was just like a table set up for espresso drinks. And those were really good too. I actually did not get one, but like everybody said your coffee was so good. So literally another couple people that did an amazing job. Thank you. I'm trying to think what else. Okay, so at our reception, we had I'm not sure what you would call it, like a board behind us where we sat, and it said every love story is beautiful, but ours is my favorite. I think it said every love story is beautiful. Yeah, but ours is my favorite. And then it had like a bookshelf, so it was like a faux bookshelf, like 2 rows of books. And then I did like some candles on the shelving. And my dad and I had made that bookshelf together, which was so fun. We painted it. It was like a black bookshelf, fake bookshelf with those words on it. And that was like up behind us at our reception. And oh my word. So like going back to like my bachelorette party with my bridesmaids, they were like, what are you most looking forward to on the wedding day? And I was like, I remember saying like the thing I was looking forward to most was seeing like all our families like all dressed up, and obviously seeing Aaron dressed up, and just seeing everybody dressed up. And then the other thing was the music. So we had during communion, we had Evidence. Can't think of who the author is right now, but Aaron's brother had played guitar and sang Evidence during our communion together. And then we had a family friend sing Goodness of God. And I don't care if every wedding has that song. It is such a beautiful song, and it is so fitting for a Christian wedding ceremony. Like, if you're ever wondering what song to have for your wedding, literally listen to Goodness of God. And there's a couple different versions you could do. That was so beautiful. Now, keeping it real, our speakers didn't work during the Goodness of God song, so we didn't really hear it. But Evidence, when Aaron's brother sang Evidence, that was over the speakers, and it was beautiful, and we didn't have any other speaker issues other than during that song. So that's what you get for getting married outside. And then we didn't really do a whole lot of like activities for our reception. We obviously cut each other's cake, fed each other cake. I think, yeah, fed each other cake, not really cut each other's cake. That was so fun. So I have loved feeding cake, like as a joke with my friends. Like ever since. If there's a birthday or something, like you just want to feed each other cake. I don't know. It's just kind of a funky little thing. So I was so excited to feed Erin cake on her wedding day. And it was so sweet. What else was I thinking? I feel like there's something else I wanted to share. I don't remember what it was. It's probably going to come to me later. Anyway. Oh, okay. So when it came time to leave, we had done fireworks, or we had my brother do fireworks. So we started dating on the 4th of July, 2020. We got married June 4th, 2022. So it was kind of like we started dating on the 4th of July. So that was kind of symbolic. But at the same time, Aaron and I just love fireworks. So we had like, I don't know, was it 5 minutes or something of fireworks after our wedding? Or after our reception, excuse me. And then we hugged our family members and we left, and it was so fun. And we went and stayed 2 nights in North Carolina just to like kind of relax and chill before we go travel across the country. We went to Jamaica for our honeymoon, and oh my goodness, Jamaica was beautiful. Now I would say definitely be careful about where you stay, because read reviews, okay? Read a lot of reviews. Aaron did an incredible job picking our honeymoon location and the hotel. The hotel was incredible. It was super laid back. I suggest a boutique, or I think they call them a boutique, but it's like smaller hotels. There's a lot of hotels that are like 1,000 rooms, and that's just gonna be really overpopulated, and it's gonna feel more commercialized. The hotel we stayed at, I think it had 250 rooms. So it was like real small, real sweet. You could definitely tell. So it was a adults only, couples only hotel. And it was all like classy people. You didn't have the college people there partying. Just super relaxed, classy setting. And I'm so thankful for that, because since then we've gone to a few other places, and yeah, they were busy. They were huge and they were busy, and it wasn't the honeymoon setting. After like working so hard on our house, getting married, the engagement, like there's a lot of work that goes into it, and we were just ready to relax, honestly. So, yeah, I was so thankful Aaron had chose like a super small boutique hotel. I knew where we were going, but I had not researched it really much at all. Aaron had done all the research for our honeymoon. When we came back, we were in Jamaica for 10 days. And then when we came back, we went to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which is so funny. So actually we stayed in Pigeon Forge, which is like right next door. But I have a joke that like anybody that gets married in South Carolina, they have to have some part of their honeymoon in Gatlinburg or Pigeon Forge, because it's literally so funny. Like most of our friends, or not even friends, just people that get married here, they either end or start their honeymoon in Pigeon Forge or Gatlinburg. But it's just like a tourist attraction in the mountains of Tennessee. And we were on our way to Linnea's wedding. She got married. I think it was was it just over 2 weeks from when we got married? She got married in Lower Michigan. So we flew from Jamaica back to South Carolina. And then we stayed home for a day or two, maybe 2 or 3 days, something like that. And then we went to Gatlinburg Pigeon Forge. That's kind of on the way to Michigan. And then we just drove up to Michigan after being in Pigeon Forge for a couple days. So we were technically on her honeymoon for her wedding. Yeah, I wouldn't suggest that, but obviously family's important and you're not going to not go to your sister's wedding. It was just really weird seeing some people we knew after literally 2 weeks. In Jamaica, we didn't see anybody we knew, like it was just, I don't know, I think I had culture shock. I think I really did, like finally being around people we knew. Which it was so good to see them, like since we hadn't saw them the last time we saw them was at our wedding, but I literally think I had culture shock looking back. I was so exhausted at her wedding and like I was just exhausted and I feel like I was exhausted of people. Like there was so many people. And talking to some people and like I think I was like culture shock real quick. But it was really sweet. They had a beautiful wedding. And yeah, so that's kind of how we ended our honeymoon. We came home. I still had a week off of work. Aaron went back to work right away. But I still had a week off of work. I honestly think I started going through all the wedding stuff and selling stuff because I am not a clutter person. And that was really fun. So a few things I want to talk about. Just keeping it real. So I had been in I think 12 or 13 weddings before I got married. Either as a bridesmaid or I was a personal attendant a few times, maid of honor a few times. I feel like I knew exactly what to expect when it came to like wedding planning and the wedding, and I knew that it's very common for like photographers or for the bridal party to fall behind the photographer's schedule and like all of that. So I really wasn't worried. I think there was a few times we were like a little behind schedule. I wasn't worried about that. The whole like vibe of the day was super chill. It was super relaxed and just happy. I'm so thankful for that. But what was like really sad was coming home from our honeymoon, and the reality was like not everybody had a great time at our wedding. And that for me was like so sad because I wanted everybody to remember the wedding like I did. And I honestly had to come to grips with it. Like people talk about wedding blues. I don't know if I had wedding blues, but I had like this little moment where I was like so sad that a few key people like did not have a good time at our wedding. And when we got home, they let us know how much work it is. And like one of our first times seeing a few people, and they just laid into us about everything that went wrong, things we didn't even know about. I would just say don't be that person. Like don't talk to the bride right after the wedding about things that went wrong. Like just don't bring it up. Maybe in a couple years if you want to bring it up, and I guess, but like don't bring it up. We had people complaining to us about cleaning up our wedding ceremony. And I say that because it's sad, because in the moment, everyone seemed so willing to help. And it was so sweet. And like we had tried to say thank you as much as we could. Like we are very thankful. Obviously, we left the wedding ceremony like there was a lot to clean up. I've cleaned up 14 weddings. Like I know how much there is to clean up. It's very time consuming. So that was kind of like a really, maybe it was wedding blues. Have you guys had wedding blues before? I honestly don't think I have. I'd never heard of them until we got back from our wedding. And people asked us if we had wedding blues. And in the moment, I said no because I wasn't sad the wedding was over. But I think wedding blues, like maybe I had wedding blues. I don't know. It's kind of funny. Yeah. There's a few other things I really regret about the wedding, but nothing really worth mentioning. And I feel like I just wanted to bring up a few of those last minute little negative moments real quick because I want people to know that when you're engaged, when you're planning for your wedding, you're also planning for a marriage. And the marriage is much more important than the wedding that you're planning for. When the wedding passes, you're probably going to have some regrets. There's probably going to be some people that didn't vibe with your wedding. And that's totally okay. Because hopefully someday they'll have a ceremony or something and they can vibe with their own ceremony. I don't know. I would just encourage anybody that's had a wedding to remember the wedding the way you remember it, not the way people tell you they remember it. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm gonna end this podcast. I wanted to say, if you're engaged, I am so excited for you. It is so much fun to plan a wedding and get married. The second you start stressing, I need you to put your pen down, grab a coffee, and go to bed. Or put your pen down and go shopping online for some honeymoon clothes. I would do that. I spent a lot of money on honeymoon clothes, and I have zero regrets. Totally encourage honeymoon clothes purchases. And then you look back at the pictures from your honeymoon, you're like, oh, I'm wearing all these new clothes, and it was just so fun. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I would say, if you're stressing either the day of, talk to your mom. Like, there was a moment during pictures where I was like, I just want to get this over with. And my mom's like, Carmen, like, relax. It's your wedding day. And I was like, you're right. Like, who cares if we have to take a few more pictures? Like, who cares if people aren't completely ready for pictures? But, yes, I just encourage you to have people in place to help you and pay them well and have a good time. Thank you. No, I just don't have anything else to say. So I am going to end the podcast, and we will be back to a normal schedule next week. Not next week. So we upload every other week. So I guess technically 2 Mondays from now, we will be back to a normal schedule with Cheyenne and I. I don't think we have guests next week. It'll just be Cheyenne and I and talk about something new. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys had a fun time hearing in on our wedding days. It was definitely fun to recollect and think about something I haven't thought about for a good while. Walking myself through the wedding day was so fun. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a great rest of your Monday.